consider that you are the Rupanuga Dhara. So this was the letter from Puri Maharaj. Then, okay. Then Guru Maharaj said, he said, many of my god brothers say that that I am posted there, given the entrance into the service of Rupa Manjari, or that means the head, Rupanuga Dhara. Saraswat, Pramod Puri Maharaj said, you are Rupanuga Dhara, and Dhara means current, the current of the Rupanuga Sampradaya that is flowing through you. Rupanuga Dhara, I am considering you as Rupanuga Dhara. Then Guru Maharaj say, but I am not thinking that. I am thinking that, I am thinking that I am the gatekeeper, that he has given me that service as a gatekeeper to see who will come and who will enter into there. And then Guru Maharaj said, and I am not letting anyone and everyone enter there. So this was the feeling of Guru Maharaj. Almost all of Guru Maharaj's senior god brothers. Pramod Puri Maharaj, he's senior to Guru Maharaj both in age and excuse me, and in the mission. He lived to 103 years old before he passed away. And once I had the fortune, Guru Maharaj sent me to deliver a letter to him in Calcutta. And I don't know what the content of the letter was, but it wasn't like today. You couldn't Skype each other, or even send a text message, or even make a telephone call. There was a telephone in Navadvip. Navadvip 85 was the telephone number, but most of the time the line was dead. And so it was either send a letter, and if any of you remember what those were, they were like writing on paper with a pen, put them in an envelope. And or you could send a telegram, but in this case, Guru Maharaj wanted to send a letter, so he gave me this letter and sent me there. At that time, Puri Maharaj was staying in the temple of Bhakti Doita Madhav Maharaj. His temple is near Kalighat in Calcutta. So I went there, and I arrived there quite late in the evening, and Puri Maharaj already had taken rest for the night. So they gave me a bed. I stayed overnight. And the next morning I met with Puri Maharaj and delivered the letter to him. And he asked me, would you like to help me with my puja? He did puja every day. He was considered like the authority on the deity worship in the Gaudiya mission. And so I felt, really privileged to help. I just was like, handing him flowers and things like as he was asking me. And it's very funny that he had like 2 Govardhan Shilas which he worshipped and had little singhasan for each. And then there was a big picture of Radha Gokulananda from Bhaktivedanta Manor, a big poster on the wall. He would worship that also, put some tulsi on the picture. And the third singhasan, there was a picture of Lord Jagannath in there. But it was a badge. Like sometimes you see in ISKCON, they wear badges on their bead bag with a deity. So someone from ISKCON had given him a badge with picture of Jagannath on. Now, he didn't put it on his bead bag, he put it in a singhasan and worshipped it. So every day he's worshipping that, offering tulsi and Ganga Jal. And it has his own little singhasan, and he's saying to me, he's looking at me and laughing, going, ISKCON Jagannath, ISKCON Jagannath. And he's doing the puja. But anyhow, he was very gentle and gracious sadhu. And before I left, I gave him a bottle of Ribena. I had some Ribena with me. I gave him a bottle of Ribena, and I gave him the bottle. You know, you can't get Ribena. Maybe you can now, but you can't. No, so Ribena, you know, and which I'd taken with me, and I thought, oh, I'll offer it to him, and he started crying. You know, like, oh, you're giving me something so wonderful. I have nothing to give you in return. But I said, oh, Maharaj, you can give your blessing to me. And he put his hand on my head and he said, Prabhu, you are so fortunate that you are the disciple of Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. He said, let me tell you, I also consider him as my guru. And let me tell you this, anyone who doesn't accept the Susiddhanta of Sridhar Maharaj, they can never be counted as a real follower of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So, you know, I left that morning. And many other times I met him. He came to see Guru Maharaj many times. And Guru Maharaj would always say, you please listen to whatever he has to say. And even if he speaks in Bengali or if he speaks in English, because he could speak both, then, but even if he speaks in Bengali, you please listen, because the vibration will be very purifying to you, even if you can't understand what he's saying. Anyhow, he was very dear friend of Guru Maharaj, and Srila Govinda Maharaj used to say, every year I'm sending 100 rupees to him on his a birthday, because I know he is a pure devotee of Krishna. And spontaneously, just a few days before his Guru Maharaj's disappearance, he came. He said, oh, I just had the feeling, Mahaprabhu is telling me that I should come to see you in Navadvip. And he stayed with Guru Maharaj until Guru Maharaj passed. And then he organized all of the samadhi and everything. He was very expert in all those things. Anyhow, that was Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj. He told, you know, you must accept, everyone must accept the position and the siddhanta of Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj if they wish to be considered as a true follower of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Now we see this, all of his godbrothers, and many of his godbrothers he gave sannyas to them. And deliberately made them gurus. Guru Maharaj was a maker of gurus. He made them, those that he considered who were qualified, he made them take disciples. And he did not take any disciples at that time, because he knew, if I say that I'm taking disciples, they'll just bring them all to me. And I don't want that. Guru Maharaj didn't want any big position or anything like that. In fact, he used to say, you know, when there's so many people coming, I get besides myself. So I don't know what to do. And he said, you may think I'm very cruel, but I say you have to live somewhere else and keep connection with me from a distance. He said, I do not want all the pomp and grandeur and everything. I'm just interested in the higher realization of the scripture and my own internal development. And whatever I have, I can help you with that and no more. And who will come to me, I will try to help them. But I do not want to be any big person or anything. He said, actually, sometimes, you know, the complicated things are coming to me, and I get perplexed. I don't know what to do. I want to eliminate all of that and just live a simple sadhu's life. And we saw that was Guru Maharaj's nature, always like that. But he would come forward and speak with us. And why would he speak to us? Because of Srila Govinda Maharaj. He would always, I'm not feeling so well today. And Govinda Maharaj would say, no, it's just 5 minutes. They've come from so far to hear from you. Just sit with them. You don't even have to say anything. Just sit with them 5 minutes. They'll be happy. Then Guru Maharaj said, okay. And he came. Then he would say, any question or something, you know, and someone would ask something. And that 5 minutes would turn into an hour, or maybe even sometimes 2 hours. And we would hear so many wonderful things. And I remember the very first thing I heard from him was he was speaking about Krishna's Leela in Dwarka. And there he's saying, in Dwarka, in Vrindavan, Srimati Radharani, she holds the highest position. And her competitor is Chandravalli. And he said, but in Dwarka, it's reversed. Rukmini is the first queen of Krishna in Dwarka, and she is the expansion of Chandravalli. And Radharani's expansion, Satyabhama. She's considered the second queen of Krishna. So I remember hearing that. I don't really remember much more about that, but I was reading Prabhupada's books since I was 14 years old, and I read all of them a few times and still continue to read them today. But I never heard that. It's not in Prabhupada's books anywhere. And I remember when I heard that, I was blown away. Wow, this is where will you hear this? Anywhere. Where will you hear this? You won't hear this kind of Hari Katha anywhere. So, we had 6 years, we had the association of Guru Maharaj. And that time Guru Maharaj was in, you can say, the benevolent grandfather mood. He was like the grandfather. He can be more affectionate with the grandchildren than the father and mother can be. Father and mother have to be a little strict, give some discipline. But grandfather, he can spoil the grandchildren. And he can also give them back at the end of the day, So it's like he can be more benevolent, the beloved grandfather. And Guru Maharaj was in that mood there. And once I said to Srila Govinda Maharaj, I wish that I could have seen, been with Guru Maharaj in his younger days when he was preaching and, going around India and doing so many things. And Govinda Maharaj just laughed at me. And he said, "Oh, Prabhu, you would not have been able to stay." I said, "What do you mean, Maharaj?" He said, you can't believe how strict Guru Maharaj is. And who could live with him? He said, "I can count on one hand. Many tried, but many failed." He said, "But I stayed with Guru Maharaj." And he said, "And if Guru Maharaj was angry with me, sometimes he's heavily beating me." He said, "So much that no one can stand. Nobody can tolerate that. But I tolerated that and stayed with Guru Maharaj." So, I remember in New York, Srila Prabhupada was giving a lecture in New York. And at the end of the lecture, there was an elderly lady there. And she came forward and she said, "Oh, Swamiji, why have you come now? I'm an old lady. Why didn't you come when I was younger? Why didn't you come then?" And Prabhupada said, "Because you were not ready then." So, then, okay. So we came to Guru Maharaj in the last days of his manifest Leela. And we saw something that otherwise we would not have been able to see. That he was in that mood now. We were able to get that kind of affection. Sometimes Guru Maharaj was angry with us. Or, angry with someone. And that was really scary when you would see that. When Guru Maharaj became angry, it was really scary. One time, a couple of times I remember Guru Maharaj being angry. But one time, he, the lady that comes to wash the pots every day, that day she didn't come. And the cook, he's saying, "Well, I'm not going to cook unless someone cleans the pots. And I'm not going to do it." So, she hasn't turned up to do it. So, he was being very obstinate, and so no clean pots. He's not cooking anything. Then when the time for the offering came, the offering's not being made, and Guru Maharaj on the altar there they have Lakshmi Varahadev, Shalagram Shila, and Guru Maharaj, he would become sick if the offering wasn't done at the right time. So at that time, Srila Govinda Maharaj wasn't there. Otherwise, it would have been a different story, I'm sure. But during that time, the arti, or rather the offering, is meant to be made. So then you can hear, the devotees come, Bhaja Bhaka, it wasn't happening at the right time. And in Guru Maharaj's room, he has a bell, like a doorbell. and he's pressing the bell, and that rings downstairs. Means Guru Maharaj needs something. Bring, 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 and they all know like why he's ringing the bell, but no one would go to attend to Guru Maharaj because they know, like, this is going to be, it's going to be heavy. So nobody was brave enough to go and see Guru Maharaj. And I was there. I didn't really understand anything that was going on. I was just a kid, and but I was there. And then suddenly Guru Maharaj comes down the stairs, and that cane that he's carrying there, he's carrying that, and he's swinging it backwards and forwards, and his face is bright red, bright red, and he's angry. And then he starts shouting in Bengali. I don't understand Bengali, but I can understand the gist of what he's saying. And also it was explained to me afterwards what he was saying. And basically he was saying, you all get out. You all get out. I don't need any of you. I can just offer Mahaprabhu Ganga Jal and Tulsi leaf. He will be satisfied. I don't need any of you or your offering or anything. You all get out. And swinging the stick there. And I was like terrified. Absolutely terrified. And anyway, the next day, the lady came, and something had happened. There'd been an incident in her home, and that she couldn't come. And of course, there's no way of telling anybody. So, but she's thinking, oh, all this has happened. It's my fault. So she began fasting, and she was like, for 3 days, she hasn't eaten anything. She's thinking that she's made offense to Guru Maharaj. And then Govinda Maharaj came, and Govinda Maharaj told Guru Maharaj, oh, that lady's fasting. So then Guru Maharaj said, ask her to come and see me. And she came up to Guru Maharaj's room, and she's like shaking, thinking Guru Maharaj is going to chastise her. But instead, Guru Maharaj went into his room, and he came back out, and he had a chapati, and he put it in her hand and said, cow, you eat, please eat. Then she started crying, and she took that prasadam. Anyway, a few times we saw Guru Maharaj angry, and that was very scary. But generally, during that time, Guru Maharaj very peaceful and very accommodating to everybody. And it is, a remarkable that we got connection with such a sadhu. We cannot understand it, actually. It wasn't even, in my case, it wasn't even intentional. I just sort of ended up there, in the mott. Ended up there, and got to meet him. All of our devotees from London, they all went there, and I wasn't included in the group that were going there. I was left behind in UK, and but I had a friend that I didn't even know was my friend. What a beautiful devotee. His name was Jagannath Swami. I believe he passed away now, but he was a West Indian devotee, and he saw I'd had a bit of an altercation with the people in charge, and they told me, the person in charge told me, we're not going to let you go to India. We think you should go home to your home, to your family home. So that's what I did. And he saw that. I won't go into the details of everything, but he saw that. And I went home, and my mother thought I'd gone mad. She thought because I was just sitting in my room playing Prabhupada's bhajans, and that drove my mother mad, because she used to say, he sounds like he's in pain, and that was all I would do, like listen to these tapes of Prabhupada chanting, and I didn't leave my room, and whenever my mother came, I was in tears, because I'm thinking, that's it, right? That's spiritual life over for me, for this life, and I don't know what to do. Then after 3 days, I got a telegram, and from this Jagannath Swami, who I barely knew him, and he said, I've got a ticket for you for India, and please come. And gave me I met him at the train station, came down on the train, met him at the train station, stayed at one devotee's shop, above their shop, and the next day, myself and another devotee, whose name was Rishi Kumar, He was from Nairobi, actually. He was Indian, but from Nairobi. So he and I, we went together on the plane, and both of us, it was our first trip to India. And they knew, even though he has an Indian body, they knew that he's not ever been in India before. And I mean the taxi drivers and all, they knew. So as we're coming out with our luggage and everything, we got our directions where to go. They just converged on us, you know, like, where are you going? Where you going? ISKCON Mayapur. You want to go? You want a taxi? I said, no, we're going to Howrah Station. And they said, train strike. No trains, no train. It wasn't true, but they just thought they'd chance it, you know. Train strike. So so we agreed to a taxi all the way to Navadvip. And they kept saying, ISKCON Mayapur. No, Navadvip. And we give in the address. Yes. So we're driving through Calcutta in the middle of the night, which in itself is like a complete culture shock if you've never been out. I mean, I'd never been out of the UK before. What to speak of going to India for the first time. And this fellow, the taxi driver, he pulls up to get some petrol in one of the petrol stations, and then he pulls across the road and he says, "Okay, wait here. I'm coming." And he goes, and like we're just sitting in the car. About half an hour later, he comes back and he's brought a couple of his pals with him. You know, so really he's just wants a friend company for this a long drive and a long drive back. But we thought, oh, this is it now. They're going to just drive us out somewhere in the country, cut our throats, steal everything, and that's the end of it. You know, so we were sitting in the back of the cab, terrified. But as it was, he charged us an arm and a leg, but he took us to the ISKCON Chandradoya Mandir in Mayapur. And when we arrived there, it's like about 11 o'clock at night. So anyway, the guy, he says, "Here you are," you know, and we said, "No, we told you this isn't where we were going." So then a couple of devotees came out from the temple, and we told them, "We're going to Sridhar Maharaj's temple," and they knew where that was. So then they told the taxi driver. That time, you know, the Gauranga Setu, the bridge, that wasn't there then. So we had to go like a long way around to get to Guru Maharaj's mott. So when we arrived, it was gone midnight when we arrived at the mott there. And then, of course, the taxi driver wants to get our life savings for the trip, because we didn't agree a price before, and he didn't use the meter, obviously. So, but luckily for us, Hari Charan Prabhu was there. And he was like on the gate, guarding the gate. So then he came out and he said, "You don't worry, you go." And he negotiated with the taxi driver. And he was a very strong person, you know, so, and paid them. It was over the odds, but it was still like, you know, not what they were asking. I mean, they were asking us like something they could retire on. And we didn't know. We had no idea. But anyhow, we arrived that night, and the next morning we got taken up to meet Guru Maharaj. And that was the first thing that struck me, was how human he was, you know? He wasn't like, you know, I'd grown up in ISKCON, and all the gurus in ISKCON, you don't get near them, you know, they were up on a pedestal, and in those days, of course, as those of us who were there remember, they were like the new Prabhupads, you know. They even had their Prabhupada name, and they could do the voice like Prabhupada, and, you know, all the rest of it. Big Vasasan. And always surrounded by so many people, you could never get close to them. And here we are, you know, in Navadvip, with Sridhar Maharaj, who that founder of ISKCON, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, said, "I consider him as my Shiksha Guru." What to speak of the benefit you'll get from his association. Here we are with him, and he's just like, "Have you got some bedding? Have you got a mosquito net?" You know, like just normal, like a normal person would ask somebody. And that was like incredible to me, incredible. And so we were given a room. I remember the room I was given. It was where the Western guest house at the front the Paschatya Sevak Bhavan, I think it's called now. And the room I was given it didn't even have a window. I mean, there was a window, but it was just a hole in the wall, and the floor was just bare brick. It hadn't been finished at all. So, but I was happy with that. They gave me a mosquito net, which was more holes than net, but I managed to make it work somehow, and a mattress to lie on. And then I spent time there, and every morning I went to see Guru Maharaj, and I hear from him, from Guru Maharaj. All these big sannyasis were coming, people from ISKCON, leaders from ISKCON coming and visiting and everything, and meanwhile, the other devotees that had come before from London, they were down on the land of nectar, living in a big tent, this massive big tent. And I was told in no uncertain terms that I had to move from the mott down to this tent. So I went down there one day and I saw it, and I saw, it was, first of all, it was because it was made of cloth sack, on bamboo. It was absolutely roasting in there, and there was must have been getting on for 100 men all living in there, and they're all fighting with each other. And I remember Darkesh Prabhu. I found Darkesh Prabhu lying in a puddle, mud puddle, and he just in his gumsha lying in the puddle, and he's like, I just want to go home. And then it's just like he could get a little relief by lying in the cold, muddy water, Anyway, I thought, oh God, I really don't want to come down here, and be part of this madness. So then I went back and I asked Srila Sridhar Maharaj. I just went up to his room. I mean, I didn't know you couldn't do that. You weren't supposed to do that. I just went up, and he was sitting there, and luckily his secretary was there, and who spoke nice English and everything. And I just asked him, Maharaj, I'd just like to ask your permission if I can stay here in that room that they've given, an unfinished room, Can I just stay? And Guru Maharaj said, yes, it's okay, you can stay. So, okay, now I had permission to stay. But these 100 men, they would come up every day and go on Sankirtan down in Navadvip with Mridanga, cartels, everything, and they would round up everybody that was in the mott of our group, because there were, families. They couldn't stay down there who had kids and that, so they had rooms there. So they'd round them all up and they'd go off downtown. And I would hide when they came up. I would hide somewhere and wait for them to go, and then I'd go up, and there were the sannyasis and all those that were listening to Srila Guru Maharaj, and I'd just sit at the back and listen to Guru Maharaj. I had this very kind of guilty feeling that I should have gone with the Sankirtan party, but I just wanted to hear from Sridhar Maharaj, and anyhow, maybe the second or third day after I'd hidden and gone up to sit with Guru Maharaj, then the Sankirtan party, they're coming back, and Guru Maharaj is in the middle of giving a lecture. And as was his habit, or his custom, whenever any Sankirtan party would come, he would go to the front of his balcony and offer pranam to them, So that's what he did. He stopped his lecture, and he got up, and it was our party, if you like, from London. They're coming down the road chanting, and as they're coming to enter the gate, Guru Maharaj comes forward and he's making his pranam, but I see he's listening to the kirtan. And then they came through the gate, and the kirtan was, they offered their obeisances, deity, kirtan's over. Then Guru Maharaj sat back down again, and then he said, if the Sankirtan party is not led by a Shuddha Bhakta, means a pure devotee, then it may just be Namaparad. And then I thought, okay, now I don't feel so bad that I didn't go on their Sankirtan party with them. So I stayed and listened with Guru Maharaj. Listened to Guru Maharaj every day. And eventually, of course, we returned to the UK, and 1 year later, I was initiated by Guru Maharaj. both Harinam and Gayatri at the same time. So that was in 1983. Then every year after that, I went to stay sometime that any time that I could with Guru Maharaj. Sometimes just a few weeks, and sometimes like 6 months was the longest I stayed there. And got my spiritual education, if you like. I didn't really do very well in ISKCON. I wasn't happy there. But having said that, if I had my time all over again, I wouldn't change it. You know, what I learned from my time in ISKCON was invaluable, so I wouldn't change that. But for some reason, somehow, I ended up at the ashram of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And I remember thinking, after I'd been there a few days, you know, because I joined ISKCON the same year that Prabhupada disappeared, just a few weeks after he disappeared. And I didn't know that he disappeared, because it was all, nobody spoke about it. It was all too raw, you know. Then when I found out, I felt like, you know, if somebody had just thrown me off a bridge or something, you know, because I was thinking like, when's he coming? And then, no, he's not coming. So I always felt like I missed out. But when I came to Guru Maharaj, when I stayed in his mott, and I remember thinking, all those books that I've read, all those things that I've heard about, they're not just stories from, you know, the scriptures. They're real, and they're all happening here in this ashram. That was my feeling, you know. And this is, and this person who's the head of this temple, he's Prabhupada. He's the same as Prabhupada. And really, I felt that, and I didn't know any of the history or anything like that, you know, until later on. But I felt myself so fortunate, and that year, 1 year later, we were accepted by Guru Maharaj as his disciples. And so until his disappearance on this day, 1988, we spent time with him every year, hear from him, try to serve him. And all that time, Srila Govinda Maharaj was there. At that time, he's white clad, but he's taking charge of everything, taking care of everything. And I was amazed to see the relationship that he had with Guru Maharaj. That amazed me, that it wasn't what I thought was the normal, you know, like guru-disciple relationship. They were more like friends. Like, you know, you'd see all these big devotees from ISKCON there with their dandas and everything, and Guru Maharaj talking with them. And in the corner, there's Govinda Maharaj reading the newspaper, you know. And but what I noticed was that if Govinda Maharaj isn't there, Guru Maharaj would never make any decision. He would always say, wait, when Govinda Maharaj comes, then I'll decide. When Govinda Maharaj comes, then I'll decide. And I saw that many times. And I'm also witness to Guru Maharaj, after he gave the Acharya chair to Srila Govinda Maharaj, saying, he's more qualified than I am as the head of this mission. And he said, he is a natural Paramahamsa. And his service never leaves the Nirguna plane. These are like, Guru Maharaj is a sadhu and a man of words. He knows, whatever he says, he knows the meaning of that completely. And he's not a flatterer of anybody. If he says it, you know that it's the absolute truth. In fact, Guru Maharaj said, I've never told a lie in my life. Even as a child, I never told a lie. Then, you know that, I know it sounds obvious, but it's a thing that if somebody has never told a lie in their life, then whatever they say is true. I know that sounds like, well, of course it is, you know, if they've never told a lie, but it means more than that whatever they say, it must be true. It must be actually the truth. not just someone's version of the truth. It is true. So, and you know, they say that Mahatma Gandhi, he also was like never told a lie in his life. Martin Luther King said, future generations will not believe that such a man walks on this earth. And we see that, you know. Once I asked Srila Govinda Maharaj, you know, I said, when my kids were younger, I said, I've always tried to teach them to be honest, but they lie all the time, you know. Like that, no, I didn't do it, it wasn't me. You know, like a defense. It wasn't me, it was him, or it was her, or, you know. And I know they're lying. And I said, why is that, Maharaj? And Gurudev just laughed and said, because they're intelligent. This is the world where you have to lie to survive, isn't it? You know. But Guru Maharaj was never that man. He was never that man to compromise the truth. Even he said, I took a vow when I was a young man to never tell a lie. He actually like decided that. And he said, and then when I read in the scripture that it says, you should tell the truth, but always only when it's pleasing to hear. He said, I found difficult to accept that. I thought I should tell the truth, whether it's pleasing or unpleasing, or, you know, like be damned. Tell the truth and be damned, like whatever the consequence. But the scripture says, no, you should tell the truth if it's pleasing, you know. And that was something like Socrates said that, right? That somebody came to Socrates and they said to him, do you know what's happening with so-and-so? And Socrates said, well, just hold on a minute. First of all, what you're going to tell me, do you know that it's true? And he said, well, I'm not sure. I just heard it from, like, said, so that's the first thing. You don't know that it's true. And secondly, is it useful to tell me this? Is it useful? And I said, well, I don't know. It's just something I heard. I thought I should tell you about. And thirdly, is it pleasing? Will it be pleasing to me to hear this? So probably not. So then I don't want to know. Don't tell me that. So this is actually a Vedic aphorism that you should tell the truth, but only when it's pleasing to hear that. And Guru Maharaj said, oh, I had difficulty with that one, but I had to adjust my thinking for that. Anyway, that was Guru Maharaj. And those things that he said about Srila Govinda Maharaj. And we saw that. And it was, I mean, really, it was amazing to me that I saw that. And their relationship of guru and disciple. And also, you know, Guru Maharaj's acceptance of us was because of the intercession of Srila Govinda Maharaj. Guru Maharaj didn't want to accept. When many of us altogether, we asked to be disciple. Guru Maharaj, at that time, Guru Maharaj had 2 Western disciples. The very first Western disciple was Dibyashari, you know, Vishaka's mother. She was the first Western disciple. And the second was Jai Gorendu. Back to John he was. He was in ISKCON all the time I was in ISKCON, but he never took initiation. He didn't find anyone that he wanted. But he took initiation from Guru Maharaj, back to John, and he became Jai Gorendu.
A tall person, I think.
Very tall, yeah. Govinda Maharaj's brahmachari name was Gorendu Brahmachari. And so he named his first Western male disciple Jai Gorendu. And that was enough for him, you know. He said, okay, that's my quota, you know, I've got my quota. But then suddenly we all came forward wanting initiation from him. You know, maybe when we were initiated, maybe there were 20 of us or something all at one time. And we didn't know, but I heard later from Srila Govinda Maharaj that Guru Maharaj said, no, I can't do that. He said, and these were that I heard from Govinda Maharaj, these were his words, I am at the fag end of my life. I do not know how much longer I will live. And when I am gone, who will take care of them? And Srila Govinda Maharaj said, no, Maharaj, you must accept them, and I will take care of them. And just hearing that, Guru Maharaj accepted, and we were accepted as his disciples. So, you know, then Guru Maharaj and Srila Govinda Maharaj inseparable, completely inseparable. And I can say, you know, my hand on my heart, as all of us that came to Srila Sridhar Maharaj, we didn't know who Govinda Maharaj was. We just thought he was the manager of the temple, nice devotee, everything. We didn't know all of that until Guru Maharaj made him the successor. You know, that was like 3 years before he passed away. But even then, even after Guru Maharaj passed away, at least myself, I wasn't thinking, okay, this is it now, just follow Govinda Maharaj. I was thinking, okay, Guru Maharaj has made him his successor, we accept. But I didn't think, oh, he's like Guru Maharaj. Didn't think that until.
When did Sagar Maharaj?
Sorry.
Sagar Maharaj and Janardhan Maharaj.
Well, Sagar Maharaj was there when I first came in 1982. I think he came in 1981. But Janardhan Maharaj came quite a while later. Maybe 86 or something like that. But anyhow.
Both came together.
No, they didn't come together, no.
Separate.
Yeah. Anyway, but then I returned to Navadvip. My first time I came back to Navadvip, Guru Maharaj wasn't there. And it was very strange, you know, like coming into the temple and knowing that Guru Maharaj isn't up there in his room. We're not going to go up there and hear from him, or, you know, sometimes you could stand on the roof of the guest top and of the guest house and you could see Guru Maharaj walking back and front, had a little exercise, you know, up in his room or sitting in his chair. You could see from there, and it wasn't there. It was all different. The room was vacant, and we know Guru Maharaj physically isn't there anymore. And Govinda Maharaj's rooms at the other end, but I didn't really know Govinda Maharaj, actually. We'd had a few times we'd like talked together, and he was always very kind to me. But I didn't really know him. But some of the devotees did. He had like some pals, you can say, some friends who were like his bosom friends. Aravinda Lochan Prabhu from Colombia. I think he's from Colombia, but he was like Gurudev's friend. Yudamanyu Seva Vikram, he was like Guru Maharaj's friend. And there were a few others, right? Govinda Maharaj's friends. So then I didn't know what to do with myself there in the mott. And they're all up in Govinda Maharaj's rooms. At that time, it wasn't open, you know, like if you go to Govinda Maharaj's room, it's all open, but it was a corridor there before, and that was knocked down. So I just kind of like quietly tiptoed up, and I could hear Maharaj was there with his friends, with Aravinda, with Judamanyu Prabhu and others, and they're having breakfast together, and they're laughing, and they're, you know, like. So I just sat outside in the corridor, like if this were it, I'd be like just around the corner by the wall, just like quietly trying not to cough, you know. Then suddenly, Govinda Maharaj says, "Who's there? Who's there?" And I just popped my head round I said, "Just me, Maharaj, Devashis. Prabhu, come in." And then he told his Koka, his servant, Bimalananda was his servant then, bring him some plate, have some breakfast with us. And that was like the first time when I was kind of like accepted by Srila Govinda Maharaj. And I can say, you know, that think about it, right? That Srila Sridhar Maharaj himself, he used to say, 10 years with Prabhupada, with Guru Maharaj, Saraswat Thakur. 10 years with Prabhupada, 50 years alone. Guru Maharaj used to say that sometimes. And those, even the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, even the first disciples didn't have more than 11 or 12 years association with him. And we had 6 years association with Srila Sridhar Maharaj. But we had more than 25 years association with Srila Govinda Maharaj. That's like a lifetime, isn't it? You know, then what kind of fortune is that? That we learned something in that time. We hope we learned something in that time. And I can say, you know, within a few short years, I came to at least somewhat appreciate who this person was. And I can say that as much as I consider Srila Sridhar Maharaj as my guru, he's my Diksha guru, I consider Govinda Maharaj as much, maybe more, as my guru.
He came 92 in Reading.
Yes, First World Tour. So, and you know, and London was so special to him. London, because Guru Maharaj was wanted to preach, Saraswati Thakur wanted Guru Maharaj to preach in London, so Guru Maharaj was happy when we made some centre for him. But Srila Govinda Maharaj, do you know, he came not all the time here, but mainly here, but because we were in Gladding Road and to begin with, but he came to London 23 times. 23 times he came here and stayed with us here. So we are so fortunate that we have that association here with him. And it was here, in this little house, it was here. And you know, in the room upstairs, looking over, watching Ken's Cafe. And he was a people watcher. He used to watch the people coming up and down the road. Ki Jai. And even he would, when the football match was on, and they used to close the road off, and the police would come by on the horseback. Gurudev liked that. And then one day he asked me, "Can you take me to the football match?" I said, "Yeah, Maharaj, I'll take you. Yeah, if you want to." I mean, I hate football, but you know, Gurudev liked football, and so I said, "Shall I arrange? Shall I arrange?" And he said, "Yeah, arrange." He said. Then he said, "What time's the kickoff?" And I said, "Oh, it's at 2:30." And he said, "Oh, no, that's my resting time. I can't go there." Yeah, but anyway, that was, you know, that affection that he showed to all the devotees, and that we were a party to that. You know, it was like, that was all from Guru Maharaj. You know, even sometimes Guru Maharaj would say, "I have one disciple, Govinda Maharaj." Sometimes he would say like that. You know, and then what were you thinking? "Oh, well, I thought I was your disciple. I have one disciple, that is Govinda." It means like one real disciple, you know, one real disciple. And it is all you need, actually. Srila Prabhupada writes in the beginning of his commentary of his Bhagavad Gita, as it is, he says, if one person becomes a pure devotee of Krishna from reading this book, then my mission is fulfilled. And that's all it requires, you know, just one. Saraswati Thakur said, you know, just to rescue one person from the samsara, from the ocean of Maya, it is an incredible thing, a miraculous thing. So here we are today, sitting at the lotus feet of the picture of our Guru Maharaj. And all we can say is that we consider our life to be so blessed. So blessed. How it is possible, we cannot say how it is possible. Of course, we owe everything to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, for coming to the West, spreading Krishna consciousness. But he considered Sridhar Maharaj as his guru. If you read his the biography written by Satsvarup Das Goswami, the first volume, which is called A Lifetime in Preparation, in there he says, I knew from the very beginning that Sridhar Maharaj is a pure devotee of Krishna, and Prabhupada, meaning Saraswati Thakur, and Krishna liked that he would prepare me. So we can see that Guru Maharaj was a big influence on preparing Srila Prabhupada for his preaching in the West. And who did he report to? To Guru Maharaj. He's writing to Guru Maharaj through Govinda Maharaj. about his preaching in the West. And when he came back with his first disciples to India, where did he go? To Guru Maharaj. So, then our mission is fully and always integrated with Srila Prabhupada. And I can say, confidently I can say, that if Srila Prabhupada was still here with us today, he would come and to see Sridhar Maharaj's temple here, his little temple. He would. I believe that. He had so much faith in Guru Maharaj.
He left in 77.
And when he says, I consider Sridhar Maharaj as my Shiksha Guru, he never said that about anybody else. No one else. He only said that about Guru Maharaj. Only one other person qualified to comment on Srimad Bhagavatam, other than myself, Sridhar Maharaj. He may have had other friends, of course, amongst his godbrothers and other sadhus, but that kind of acknowledgement he only gave to Guru Maharaj. So how fortunate we are for that. And we know it's not an easy thing. It's not an easy task to be a follower of Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev-Goswami Maharaj. But we hope that he will be merciful and will not be displeased with us, with our effort to try and continue his service and to represent him here in London. We are trying as best as we can. How much can we do, actually? We are fallen souls. But Srila Govinda Maharaj used to say there are two truths in this world. One is that we are fallen, and the second is that Krishna is the friend of the fallen. So then we should not be unhappy about that. We should be more than happy. Yes, we are fallen, but Krishna is the friend of the fallen. So Guru Maharaj's compositions, they are unique contribution to the world, not just the world of religion, the world of theism, but to the Gaudiya Sampradaya also. Guru Maharaj's commentary on Brahma Gayatri mantra is a revelation never before been known in the world, actually. From Brahma Gayatri, he has drawn out the service of Srimati Radharani as the meaning of the Brahma Gayatri. It must be so. It must be so. Because Gayatri is the mother of the Veda. And the purport of the Veda is Srimad Bhagavatam, the fruit of the Veda, Srimad Bhagavatam. Then Gayatri must come to the conclusion of Srimad Bhagavatam. And all of Srimad Bhagavatam is just to bring us to the service of the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. So Brahma Gayatri, Guru Maharaj, he said, I heard that Jiva Goswami had given some similar explanation, but until now I have not found it. And still no one can find that. But so Guru Maharaj has given, it is unique. Guru Maharaj's Prema Dhamma Deva Stotram, in 70 verses, the whole of Chaitanya Lila. It is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the form of a poem. It is the most wonderful thing, that composition. And the revelation of Prapanna Jivanamritam. Prapanna Jivanamritam, the life nectar of the surrendered souls. She is a manifest scripture from the pen of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. So much so that the first publication of that was paid for by Prabhupada's sister, Pishima. She paid for that to be published on the insistence of her brother. It is the most wonderful scripture about Sharanagati. Guru Maharaj said, when I went to live alone after the breakup of the Gaudiya Math, then I had to consider what is the most essential thing in the life of a devotee. And I came to the conclusion that Sharanagati is the most essential thing. Without Sharanagati, Sharanagati means surrender, surrender to the Lord. And without Sharanagati, then devotion is just a form.
It is very hard.
It is very hard, yes.
To say is easy, but in a practical life, how to do it?
That's why Guru Maharaj says right in the beginning of Prapana Jivanamritam, we must discuss this every day so that we can understand the necessity.
I was thinking to ask Devashis today, you sit down with me and explain to me.
So every day we must try to understand that. Because without that, it is just a formality. Without Sharanagati.
If you just practice whatever your Guru has said, then
But
Yes, but with Sharanagati. Sharanagati is first. Without Sharanagati,
nothing.
we won't get anything. Sharanagati is first. First surrender. And Gurudev says, not just surrender and lie down, but surrender and serve. This is the important thing. Surrender and serve. That is Sharanagati. And if you want to know what is Sharanagati, how to practice Sharanagati, how to become Sharanagata, then Prapana Jivanamritam is the book for you. And Srila Govinda Maharaj said, we should read it every day. Like Bhagavad Gita, we should read it every day. So these things, and so many things, Guru Maharaj's composition.
Is only in English or
No, English and Sanskrit.
not in Hindi?
I don't think there's a version in Hindi, no. But, Guru Maharaj's composition, Aruna Basana, that is sung in all the Gaudiya temples on the appearance day of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Guru Maharaj's own composition. Has so many compositions he's made. And what to speak of those compositions? His English talks. Srila Govinda Maharaj said, until the Western devotees came, we only got half of Guru Maharaj's Siddhanta. But when the Western devotees came, and they're all asking so many questions, then Guru Maharaj's wealth really revealed itself. In fact, Srila Govinda Maharaj said, there was one point, and I wish I knew what that was, I can't even ask him anymore, but he said there was one point that Guru Maharaj often explained to us that I could not understand until I read it in English in the Golden Volcano of Divine Love. So, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj himself said, I was born to preach Krishna consciousness in the English language. And Guru Maharaj was a master of the English language. And miraculously, Govinda Maharaj became that too. Govinda Maharaj never studied English. And when we first knew him, he was just like broken English. Nothing really, But by the time he was going on the world tours, his English was perfect. He could communicate with everyone. But what he used to say, when he was in Russia, he told the devotees there, I do not know English, and you do not know English, but still we are communicating heart to heart. And Krishna consciousness is heart to heart transmission. So really, I told Srila Govinda Maharaj once, Guru Maharaj gave everything to you. And I said, what a blessing. And he said, this is my blessing, but it is also my curse. But this was his mission. We should have no doubt about that. Srila Govinda Maharaj's mission was the propagation of the teachings of Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev-Goswami Maharaj. And that is what defines Chaitanya Saraswat Math above all other Gaudiya Maths. some devotees they just say, oh, they're Gaudiya Math. They're Gaudiya Math. Well, we're no more Gaudiya Math than they are. But Chaitanya Saraswat Math, that is the institution established by Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev-Goswami Maharaj to teach the pure, unadulterated Siddhanta of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. That is Chaitanya Saraswat Math, and ever more will be so. Guru Maharaj says an institution is founded to propagate an ideal. And what is the ideal of Chaitanya Saraswat Math? The teachings of Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev-Goswami Maharaj. It is not just his English books. They're not just a collection of his talks. Srila Govinda Maharaj said, they are my 5 deities. My 5 deities. Search for Sri Krishna, reality, the beautiful. Sri Guru and his grace, golden volcano of divine love. The Lord's loving search for his lost servant, and subjective evolution of consciousness. Govinda Maharaj said, these are my 5 deities. So, and really everything is contained in there. And if you want to know what was Srila Sridhar Maharaj's favorite of all of those, golden volcano of divine love. And don't just say, yeah, I've read them and got them in your bookshelf. Read them again and again and again and again, and you will find new light in there. You will find, like food for your soul in there. You will find
if you read, every time you find something.
Something new, yes. Because it's alive. It's not dead. It's alive, living.
Krishna is all in there.
Yes. So, and Guru Maharaj is there in those books. Guru Maharaj is there. If you want to know Srila Sridhar Maharaj, read those books.
So volcano, what is you told me?
Search for Sri Krishna, reality, the beautiful. Sri Guru and his grace. Golden volcano of divine love. The Lord's loving search for his lost servant. And subjective evolution of consciousness.
So lost the search of his servant. You have got him.
This is the blue one behind. This is the blue one.
Yes. Anyhow, I can tell you.
I will take one today because
Yeah.
we have got all, but the things in the change of house, it is not easy to find them.
I understand, yeah. Anyway, not just Pasandeshwari, but everyone I recommend, read those books. Then you will understand who is Sridhar Maharaj and what is his teaching.
Anyway, whenever you wake up, that's the first thing.
Yes. So, we'll stop our talk today here, and now we can do Guru Puja. Jayam Vishnupad, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev-Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Srila Guru Maharaj Tirubhav Maha Mahotsav ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol.